Chapter 11. Master must strive to strengthen himself. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hey, sorry about the long break. I've been busy and school has started for me. Stupid darn textbooks are overpriced as hell. Anyways, yeah, I'll just be posting chapters when I get them done from now on, when that is I have no clue. Dropping from the eldest disciple of the head of the sect straight down to the youngest disciple, Xiao Budian himself laughed heartlessly, like he'd picked up a huge bargain. Lin Feng secretly let out a breath of relief in his heart. Regardless if it's intentional or unintentional, Xiao Budian solved a big problem for him by doing this. Or else if he takes in more disciples later and they know that above their heads there is a little 4-year-old kid as their senior, it's inevitable that there will be concerns. Lin Feng looked at Xiao Budian smilingly, saying in his heart, "Attaboy, just for you being so understanding, Master will also cover you." Regardless if he's the eldest disciple or the youngest disciple, right now Lin Feng only has Xiao Budian, this one disciple. He is only able to experience the pleasure of being a teacher from him. But very quickly Lin Feng was secretly depressed, because he discovered that Xiao Budian's comprehension in cultivation is extremely high. He is able to see how things will develop from one small clue and is able to infer other things from one fact. Even the 9 heavens thunder technique, this kind of high-end Dao technique, Xiao Budian is able to learn it effortlessly. The escape technique, Cloud Dragon Escape, is even more effortless for him. Compared to his max level bone root of 10, Xiao Budian's comprehension of 8 didn't seem to be that eye-catching. But in reality, a comprehension of 8 is still super genius level, 1 in a million. Lin Feng didn't even need to guide him. Teaching everything to Xiao Budian like stuffing a duck and then letting him figure it out on his own was enough. Facing this kind of disciple, while Lin Feng sighed about the extraordinariness of the main character aura, he also felt pressure as big as a mountain. He needs to quickly increase his own strength, or else if in the end any one of his disciples are all even stronger than him, this master, that would be too shameful. Lin Feng clearly understands that regardless if it's Xiao Budian in front of him or that Xiao Yan in Wuzhou City, in the future these main characters are destined to step on a path of the strong filled with thorns and fire. They will be like giant magnets of infinite magnetism, attracting all kinds of savage, cunning, powerful, or sinister enemies from all over the world in all directions, like moths flying into a fire, crying and shouting and jumping at them. Of course, after these chains of soul-stirring, earth-shaking epic battles, Xiao Budian and company are destined to obtain victory, writing their own legend. The problem is, what role will he, Lin Feng, play in the story? Just looking at the current situation, he can only be considered a mentor of initiation. And this kind of mentor of initiation usually only has 2 types of results. 1, they are an important figure, life teacher, or even spiritual pillar towards the main character on a spiritual level. Once they die, it will usually ignite the main character's inner cosmos, driving them to wreak hell. Old grandpas aren't omnipotent. On the contrary, old grandpas are usually in a down state, which is why they are able to meet the main character when he is still insignificant and yet to rise up. Even if old grandpas don't die, they could also be captured by the main character's archenemy, being tortured, suffering hardships, waiting for the main character to go save them. 2, as their mentor of initiation, they only play the role of a guide, responsible for bringing the main character into the world of the strong. Afterwards it's none of the mentor's business. There will naturally be higher-leveled masters or big sects to take over the main character. They are the true characters responsible for teaching the main character. One is cannon fodder, the other is just a bystander. Evidently, no matter which one, they are all not what Lin Feng can accept. To avoid these 2 circumstances there is only one path, that is to get stronger himself. Even though they are hurrying towards Wuzhou, but while they are traveling, Lin Feng is also grabbing hold of every possible moment to train and increase his strength. For the current Lin Feng, the Heaven Thunder Moon Jade is a priceless treasure that he wouldn't trade for anything. Through absorbing the pure thunder energy inside, Lin Feng's training speed is many times faster than under his normal condition. If not for the Heaven Thunder Moon Jade acting as the Northern Aurora Sword's energy source, Lin Feng would continue to suck clean all of the thunder energy within. Xiao Budian is also training diligently, although while training Xiao Budian also has some other thoughts. Lin Feng looked at Xiao Budian, who was blushing, unable to help but being a bit dazed. Are you sure? Xiao Budian lowered his head in embarrassment. It's not like I have to drink it, I just like to drink it, just like how Grandpa Elder likes to drink alcohol. Seemingly thinking of a pretty good reason, Xiao Budian immediately became energetic, a pair of black shining eyes glowing and looking at Lin Feng with a face of hope. But Lin Feng had a throbbing headache. No matter what, he didn't think that Xiao Budian, who is a main character level figure, actually still hasn't cut off milk at 3.5 years old. Although thinking of how there were still some adults in his previous life on Earth who drank milk, Lin Feng felt at ease. Fine then, drinking milk is beneficial to the body's health. The difficulty of hunting instantly rose up a lot. It has to be a female beast at the lactation period and it has to be caught alive. After searching for several days, Lin Feng finally captured a 5-pawed violet gold leopard. This is an abnormal species. Compared to regular leopards, it has an extra paw below its stomach. It runs like the wind and can travel on cliffs like walking on flat land. It can also spit out fire and lightning from its mouth. Its nature is extremely aggressive. It isn't hard for Lin Feng to kill this mother leopard, but wanting to subdue her and have her obediently provide animal milk for Xiao Budian, that is a technical skill. In the end, Lin Feng was tired of its dawdling and directly held its cub hostage. Under Lin Feng's despicable blackmailing, the mother leopard finally submitted. And so Lin Feng and Xiao Budian also gained a mount. When traveling, they sat on the 5-pawed violet gold leopard. When resting, Xiao Budian delightfully muzzled over below the mother leopard's belly. After a couple of days, the 5-pawed violet gold leopard was finally released. It was not Lin Feng showing mercy but instead Xiao Budian wanting to change flavors. Xiao Budian spoke plausibly. 100 animal milk is actually the most delicious. It's a lot better than the taste of a single animal's milk. Lin Feng knocked on his little head. You brat, this mouth of yours is not only gluttonous, it's also very picky. Right now there's no 100 animal milk, we'll switch around the single ones. Unable to help but sigh, not only does he have to be a master, he also has to be a milk dad. TL. Milk dad is what the Chinese call fathers that take care of the child instead of the mother. But it's pretty literal in this case. Master and disciple traveled through the mountains, very quickly going through the mountain range. Outside of the mountain range, Wuzhou City is already very close. In a month's time, with the help of the Heaven Thunder Moon Jade, Lin Feng already advanced from Qi Disciple level 4 to the peak of Qi Disciple level 6. He can already attack the level of Qi Disciple level 7. But comparisons are odious. Also in 1 month's time, also practicing the 9 Heavens Thunder technique, Xiao Budian also advanced from Qi Disciple level 2 to Qi Disciple level 4. Lin Feng was a bit speechless. I've got the help of the Heaven Thunder Moon Jade, damn it. We've already reached the outer circle of the mountain range, we'll probably get out of the mountains in just a few days. Lin Feng gathered his thoughts, his mind slowly immersed in training. I'll strive to reach Qi Disciple level 7 before we leave the mountains. Lin Feng quietly did breathing exercises, constantly drawing energy from the outside world and bringing it into his body. The energy stored in his dantian was constantly being refined and purified, and then flowing in the veins of his entire body, nourishing his soul and altering his body. After the energy circulated throughout his entire body 36 times, Lin Feng's eyes suddenly opened. All of the energy was gathered together and then charging at the 7th nerve point under the drive of the mana in the first 6 nerve points. Following the constant passage of time, Lin Feng gradually felt a slight feeling of exhaustion and the 7th nerve point still had no movement. This is a very dangerous signal. It means that Lin Feng's attempt this time could very likely end in failure. If he fails this time, everything he will need to start over from the beginning again. TL. Start over as in he'll need to retrain for a while to be able to try to get to Chi Disciple level 7 again. Success or failure, it's a one-shot deal. Even though a layer of fine sweat had already slowly appeared on his head, Lin Feng's expression was filled with determination. His mind linked with the Heaven Thunder Moon Jade, absorbing thunder energy from within it to support himself to continue charging at the nerve point. Lin Feng didn't use brute force, instead turning the mana and energy in his body into a type of spiral manner to break through the nerve point. While the spiral-shaped energy acted as the main force and attacked from the front, Lin Feng carefully pulled out a few slivers of weak energy, adopting the method of going around from the side and slowly massaging the nerve point, bit by bit penetrating within, causing it to constantly loosen. Under the simultaneous methods of attacking from the front and penetrating from the sides, a change finally happened to the 7th nerve point right before Lin Feng was about to become exhausted again. The invisible barrier that had originally been constantly obstructing the circulation of the mana and energy, like the dam blocking the river, finally collapsed under the constant assault of the river water. The energy in Lin Feng's body roared downwards, entering into the 7th nerve point. An abundance of energy circled in the nerve point, as if it were a constantly revolving stardust universe. Here, energy was constantly being converted into Lin Feng's own mana. Chi Disciple level 7, complete. Lin Feng's face revealed a smile. He exhaled a long breath, discharging all of the muddy air without any spiritual power out of his body. Exhaling and inhaling a few more times and nourishing the newly opened nerve point for a moment, Lin Feng stood up and stretched. It wasn't easy this time. Although I still succeeded. Lin Feng just felt rejoiceful when he found that Xiao Budian had disappeared. He helplessly sighed. Xiao Budian, who was not even 4 years old, fully displayed the so-called naughty child characteristic, jumping up and down, not willing to calm down for an instant. Who knows where he's gone off to this time to go bananas. After mastering Cloud Dragon Escape's ability, all of the birds and beasts in the forest suffered a calamity. This time, while Lin Feng was in the middle of breaking through the 7th nerve point, Xiao Budian had his mind hooked away by a beautiful yellow-colored sparrow. Xiao Budian pursued the yellow sparrow deep into the woods. The yellow sparrow doesn't look big, but it is an abnormal species. Its flying speed is fast like lightning. The Chi Disciple level 4 Xiao Budian pounced at it a couple times and was unable to grab it. Xiao Budian was not discouraged and thought of Lin Feng's teachings. Recklessness and impatience have no use. Attentively figure out the details of the target and you'll naturally have it in the bag. Thinking here, Xiao Budian no longer blindly pounced, instead patiently observing the yellow sparrow's flight pattern. After a moment, Xiao Budian suddenly jumped up, Chi Disciple level 4 mana surging in his tiny body, arriving in front of the yellow bird in an instant. It was too late for the yellow sparrow to run away again, and it was grabbed by Xiao Budian. Xiao Budian happily laughed, shaking the yellow sparrow's feathers. He was in the middle of happily playing when he suddenly sensed something. Turning his head, he saw a red-robed youth underneath a tree looking at him with an expression of shock. Chapter 12. Encountering a disciple stealer. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Of course, the red-robed is shocked. This little guy in front of him has actually already reached the level of Chi Disciple level 4 at such a young age. Even in his sect, this kind of talent is also unique. If I bring this little guy back, the elders in the sect will definitely go crazy. Even the sect master will not be able to sit tight. At this time I've made a great contribution. Thinking here, the red-robed youth's heart instantly heated up, looking at Xiao Budian with a grin. Xiao Budian glanced at this red-robed youth a bit cautiously, but on the surface he still had an innocent and naive look. The red-robed youth said smilingly, "Kid, where is your family?" Xiao Budian blinked his eyes. "I came out with my master." The red-robed youth asked. "Which sect are you? Who is your master?" Xiao Budian shook his head. "I don't have a sect, master is master." "There's a chance, looks like his master isn't from some kind of big sect, he's probably a wandering cultivator." The red-robed youth completely relaxed, his face unconsciously revealing a hint of arrogance. Kid, you and I meeting today is your immortal opportunity. Come, return with me to the sect and you will be taught supreme Tao techniques, achieving the way of the universe. Xiao Budian blinked his big, black eyes, his face filled with an expression of blankness. The red-robed youth woke up in realization, calling himself a fool. No matter how high the talent of the little guy in front of him, he is still just a child. Thus he changed his tone. Big brother is a disciple of the Blaze Sword sect. Have you heard of the Blaze Sword sect? In the entire world the strongest sect is us, the Blaze Sword sect. If you enter the Sword sect no one will dare to bully you again. You'll be entirely able to do whatever you want. Xiao Budian opened his mouth, in the end saying. But I have a master already. The red-robed youth smiled faintly. There's no harm, you can still enter into the Blaze Sword sect. Bring me to go see your master, I'll speak with him. He will naturally agree. He laughed lightly, shaking his head. If that master of yours is really thinking about what's best for you, he will naturally agree to you changing to under the Blaze Sword sect. Because only like this can you obtain the best development and not let your talent go unrecognized. What can a wandering cultivator teach you? That's completely wasting and burying your talent. After the red-robed youth glanced at Xiao Budian, he continued to say slowly. Of course, if he wants he can also join our Blaze Sword sect and be a guest elder, we naturally won't treat him poorly. Like this you can also meet up with him regularly, for everybody this is the best result. In the red-robed youth's mind, a tiny wandering cultivator being able to be a guest elder at his sect is really his good fortune. When he obtains this promise he'll be head over heels to give out his disciple. At that point I won't even need to convince him anymore and this little guy's master will be rushing him to come over to the sect. The red-robed youth was in the middle of thinking happily when he saw the little guy in front of him turn around and run backwards after smiling, only leaving behind an increasingly smaller figure of his back. What is this? The red-robed youth blanked. He's too happy, so he rushed back to tell that master of his. The red-robed youth hoped so much that it was this result, but his instincts told him that things were not going well. The red-robed youth didn't dare to hesitate anymore, rapidly chasing after Xiao Budian. Originally he thought that it would not take too much effort to catch up to Xiao Budian, but after only chasing after him for 2 steps the red-robed youth received a big surprise. Xiao Budian let out a long, clear cry. Under the surging of his mana the skeleton and muscles of his whole body were like they'd connected into a line, turning in a giant dragon flying outside of the heavens, floundering and shifting in the clouds, appearing and disappearing. The ability of Cloud Dragon Escape was used by Xiao Budian. He was truly like a dragon appearing at one moment and disappearing the next, like a dragon hiding its head and disappearing in the clouds. A couple of ups and downs in the thick forest and Xiao Budian disappeared from the red-robed youth's sight, causing him to stop his steps from shock. He said dumbfounded. My level is Chi Disciple level 6, to think that I would actually be ditched by a Chi Disciple level 4 little kid, Dioviko, yet he didn't know that Xiao Budian was also very unsatisfied in his heart. I still haven't exerted this escape technique to the limit. If it was master he would ditch that big red monkey out of sight in a flash. Xiao Budian was careful and purposely went around in the forest a couple of circles. After confirming that he'd already completely ditched the red-robed youth he ran back and met up with Lin Feng. Hearing Xiao Budian retell what happened, Lin Feng secretly furrowed his eyebrows. Blaze Sword Sect. Even though the Stone Village Elder's level isn't high, he traveled extensively when he was young and is quite knowledgeable. Before leaving, Lin Feng had talked with him a couple of times and secretly obtained a lot of information from him. This Blaze Sword Sect is the same as the Celeritas Sword Sect. They are both one of the few top-level sects in the borders of the Great Qin dynasty. The sect has countless people of strength, like Yi Ge. That kind of foundation establishment stage cultivator is just a minor character. Even worse is that these two sword sects are both members of the Nine Heavens Sword Alliance. The Nine Heavens Sword Alliance is formed by the alliance of the 9 great sword sections. They have always been very close. Moreover, the leader of the alliance, the Mtishu sword sect, is the supreme holy land of the Way of the Sword. Together with the Buddhist Great Thunder Monastery and the Taoist Void Temple, they are called the 3 great holy lands of the cultivating world of the heaven primal world. TL. The Great Thunder Monastery is also the place where Buddha resides in Journey to the West. There are also places in China called Thunder Monastery. The red-robed youth saying to Xiao Budian that his sect is the strongest sect is undoubtedly a big bluff. Not speaking of the 3 great holy lands and a couple of the other top-level sects, just in the 9 Heavens Sword Alliance the Blaze Sword sect is also just a mid-tier level. But the Blaze Sword sect is indeed a powerful top-notch force in the heaven primal world, this point is without doubt. Lin Feng glanced at Xiao Budian. The little guy's black hair reaches down to his shoulders, his big eyes are black and bright, very energetic. His appearance is white and clean, pretty and cute. TL. Yes, pretty, remember that he's not even 4 yet. My good disciple, you are like that firefly in the dark, so bright and outstanding. That melancholic look in your eyes, the milk stains remaining at the corners of your lips and your godly talent have all deeply betrayed you, attracting all kinds of people to approach you one after another. Lin Feng secretly smiled wryly. The matter of the attempt of someone trying to take his disciple from him reminded him. Right now he could also be considered an innocent man in trouble due to his wealth. Right now Xiao Budian, who Lin Feng has already taken in as his disciple along with the disciples that he might take in the future, are all destined to be a couple of uber prodigy level characters with OP talent due to the rigid standards of the system. With him not having enough strength, even if these disciples themselves don't betray him, they will still attract the greed of other forces. This is different from him leading the Celeritas sword sect to fight the peach demon Long Yi before. The reason that he dared to screw over the Celeritas sword sect is because as the enemy of Xiao Yan, that kind of main character, the Celeritas sword sect is destined to become a stepping stone and background. But the current Blaze sword sect is different. This is an opponent that Lin Feng created himself. But so what? Lin Feng laughed coldly. Against this kind of big force naturally it's best to not offend them if possible, but since the matter is related to Xiao Budian then there's nothing to say. There's only 2 words, fuck them. He spent such a great effort before finally taking Xiao Budian as his disciple, how can he hand him over? Not to mention the system is still waiting for him. If he doesn't gather up 4 disciples approved by the system in a year, then the system is not going to be polite with him. Chapter 13. The Fallen Prodigy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After making up his mind, the gears in Lin Feng's mind started to turn rapidly. The person Xiao Budian met is most likely just a small fry. Should I go back to find him and directly eliminate him so as to avoid the cultivators of the Blaze Sword sect coming to find us? After thinking, Lin Feng still gave up on the plan of going back to trouble the dude. Lin Feng doesn't not know whether or not the red-robed youth is moving alone or if he has companions in the surroundings. In the end he still didn't plan on taking a risk. Lin Feng knocked on Xiao Budian noggin. You brat, do you still dare to run around from now on? Xiao Budian scratched his head in embarrassment and laughed. Out of the mountains is a flat stretch of land. Lin Feng and Xiao Budian very quickly arrived at Wuzhou City. Walking on the streets of Wuzhou City and looking at the endless stream of people, Lin Feng's face revealed a smile. Arriving at this world for almost 3 months, he's been in the mountains the entire time. It's been a long time since he's seen such a lively scenery. 3 months. Lin Feng lightly sighed. 1/4 of the quest time has already passed and he has also only completed 1/4 of the quest. There's still a long way to go. Lin Feng pulled himself together and started asking about the Xiao family's location. Even though Wuzhou City is located at the south-eastern frontier of the Great Qin dynasty, it is an important commercial city of south-eastern Qin. This place is close to the boundless mountains. The valuable medicines and animal skins, animal bones and other goods in the mountain are all distributed in Wuzhou City and then sold across the country of Great Qin. The Xiao family that Xiao Yan is from can also be considered a big power in Wuzhou City. They control over 1/3 of the medicine trade in Wuzhou. Of course, the Xiao family, this kind of local power, has no comparability to the Celeritas sword sect, this kind of behemoth. After Xiao Yan transformed from a prodigy to trash, it's also no wonder that Murong Yanran would come break off the engagement under the support of the sect. The main point Lin Feng asked about was if anything big had happened to the Xiao family recently and if any outsiders came to the Xiao family. When he heard that Murong Yanran and company still hadn't visited, Lin Feng relaxed his mind and knew that he didn't arrive late. Ye Gu fought with the old peach tree and was injured by the old peach tree. Looks like his injury is not light and requires a long time to recover. Murong Yanran most likely needs to wait for Yi Ji's injury to pretty much recover fully before coming to Wuzhou to end the engagement. Right now Lin Feng is a bit hesitant. What if Yi Gu recuperates for like half a year or a year? Do I wait like an idiot for him in Wuzhou City the whole time? First find a chance to see Xiao Yan in person and use the talent probe to test him. In this Wuzhou City, Xiao Yan could also be considered a famous person. Started cultivating at age 8, reached Qi disciple level 5 1 year later, achieved Qi disciple great perfection at age 12. Don't mention that this kind of cultivating speed is unprecedented in the history of the Xiao family and Wuzhou City. Even in the entire Great Qin dynasty he is also well known far and near. The Xiao family may also be a cultivator family, but it is just a local power of Wuzhou City. The Dao technique practiced is just a third-rate level, and Xiao Yan is able to have such astonishing accomplishments. If he practices a superior Dao technique, then his accomplishments will be even more limitless. Rumors say that Xiao Yan's reputation even startled one of the 3 great holy lands, the Void Temple, and that they prepared to send someone to test him and take him into the sect. The youth at that time was confident and had a very promising future. Soon he was about to turn 13 years of age and achieve the foundation establishment stage that countless cultivators might not be able to attain with their entire lives, furthermore becoming a disciple of a holy land, writing his own legend. Such high and vigorous spirit. Such radiance. But in the year the Xiao Yan was 12 years old, the progression of the situation took a sharp turn for the worse. All of the mana of Xiao Yan, who had already unlocked the 12 levels and was at the peak of the Qi disciple stage, suddenly vanished in a day's time. The nerve points that were originally already unlocked also resealed themselves one after another. His Qi disciple great perfection level bizarrely fell back to Qi disciple level 1, Xiao Yan also instantly fell from the clouds to the ground. The Void Temple that was rumored to come and observe him had no movement. The sounds of praise beside him turned into sighs, even malicious ridicule. All of the people of Wuzhou City used a gaze of pity staring at that former prodigy fall from the sky. After Xiao Budian at Lin Feng's side heard Xiao Yan's encounter, he also had a gloomy face. He also doesn't have it easy. Yeah. Lin Feng echoed without care, but his heart was burning with passion. Holy shit! This is entirely a person chosen by the heavens, a main character template. Even using your knees one can imagine that there is definitely a secret to Xiao Yan suddenly transforming from a prodigy to trash. As they say, first suppress and then develop. Without suppression to the limit right now, how can there be an explosion? And that Murong Yanran visiting to humiliate him and break off the engagement is the critical point of the explosion. Once the marriage is annulled, this Xiao Yan situation should improve, from then on stepping of a golden path of being a beast and taking in all virgin girls. TL. Don't ask me. Okay fine, you know those novels where the MC takes in like every girl he sees, yeah. Lin Feng calculated in his heart. There is definitely some kind of reason to Xiao Yan transforming from a prodigy to trash. This thing is also usually the cheat to Xiao Yan rising up in the future, in other words. It is my competitor. Murong Yanran and company still haven't arrived, Lin Feng still has time to calmly arrange things. After first finding a place to stay in the city and settling down, Xiao Budi and Lin Feng went nearby the Xiao family mansion. Hanging around for a couples of days he did not see Xiao Yan and did not see the arrival of Murong Yanran. Lin Feng couldn't help but become anxious. Lin Feng considered about directly visiting and acting like a master, first taking in Xiao Yan and not waiting for Murong Yanran to break off the engagement. But like this there will be a lot of problems. A more profound way of saying it is that without the matter of the marriage annulment there might not be a turning point to Xiao Yan's fate. A more practical way is that without the marriage annulment matter, Xiao Yan's desire for strength won't be that urgent. His self-esteem will not be hurt and he will not be angered due to having his marriage broken off and humiliated. Unlike Xiao Budian, Xiao Yan is already a 15-years-old teen and has the most basic sense of judgment. If Lin Feng doesn't wait for him to be angered after the marriage annulment and lose his calm, he probably won't be that easy to fool. After pondering, Lin Feng decided it would be better for him to quietly wait for Murong Yanran to visit and then make his move. While thinking, the system's notification sound suddenly rang in his head. Discovered target, suitable to become host's disciple. Lin Feng was dazed for an instant. Holy shit. He hurriedly lifted his head, seeing a black-clothed teen walk out from the Xiao family mansion. Seeing the black-clothed youth come out, the street outside of the mansion became silent for an instant. Everybody's gaze flashed past the black-clothed teen and the sounds of whispers rose up. They were clearly all talking about the black-clothed teen. The teen is handsome, his face is expressionless. Seeing the reactions of the people on the street, the corners of his lips revealed a smile of slight self-mockery, his footsteps walking forward without stopping. Lin Feng's gaze was focused on the black-clothed teen's body the entire time. The system notification sound rang in Lin Feng's head non-stop. Talent system has finished organizing, target number 2's data is as so. Bone root 8, comprehension 9, will 9, luck 8. Conclusion. Target's talent an extremely high, recommended to take in as a disciple and carefully guide him, he will definitely become a pillar of the sect. Lin Feng took a deep breath in, his face revealing a warm and sunny smile. Number 2. His gaze started to search Xiao Yan's body. If there is some kind of cheat item, out of the need for convenience of carrying it, is most like a ring, bracelet, necklace or something like that. His hands, nothing. His neck, there's a string. On the string there are 2 rings, a very black appearance and very unassuming. Lin Feng scratched his nose and smiled. There is indeed a ring, and there's 2. I can bet that inside there definitely lives an old grand. Pa. Wait a sec, something doesn't seem right. 2 rings. The fuck, what kind of situation is this? Lin Feng's eyes were a bit dazed, his gaze blankly staring at the 2 rings in front of Xiao Yan's chest, swinging and hitting together, releasing a low, crisp ring. Chapter 14. 2 Rings. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Only until Xiao Yan's figure gradually went away did Lin Feng return to his senses, hurriedly following over. Xiao Yan actually has 2 rings. This is a situation that Lin Feng did not anticipate before. Lin Feng felt uneasy in his heart. Could it be that Xiao Yan actually carries around 2 old grandpas with him? Benov com fuck, coach, I want to make a report, this is entirely against the rules. Maybe only 1 ring has an old grandpa and the other one is just a normal ring. Lin Feng thought about it, this possibility is not impossible. Or even the 2 rings are both normal and there isn't an old grandpa in either. Or maybe one has an old grandpa living in it and the other is hiding some kind of godly item or something like that. A multitude of questions hovered in Lin Feng's mind, making him puzzled. While thinking, he had already followed behind Xiao Yan and arrived at the side of a small lake in the northern part of the city. Lin Feng observed the surrounding scenery, there are very few people. Looks like this is that Xiao Yan's private area, when he's troubled he will come here to be by himself. Remembering this place, Lin Feng secretly nodded his head. After the marriage annulment, Xiao Yan will most likely hide here by himself to lick his wounds, and then it's the debut of the old grandpa. By the lake the black-clothed teen had his hands behind his head resting on his hands and just lying down like that on the grass, a grass stalk dangling in his mouth and swaying. Lin Feng stood far away looking at Xiao Yan, his expression uncertain. Right now he started to seriously think about how to first take Xiao Yan as his disciple before Murong Yanran breaks off the engagement. Or else when the marriage annulment matter occurs, if he activates two old grandpas at once then the pressure would be too great. Lin Feng was in the middle of thinking when he saw a couple of teenagers walk over towards Xiao Yan. From the looks of it they don't have good intention. Secretly sighing, Lin Feng shook his head with an expression of pity. Don't get him wrong, he's not pitying Xiao Yan being bullied after falling from the sky, but instead sighing about those couple of people acting recklessly. Yes, it's true that Xiao Yan is having bad luck right now and looks easy to bully, but it needs to be known that one must pay a price when bullying this kind of main character. After the marriage annulment Xiao Yan will be instantly re-energized. At that time he'll be able to blow away hundreds of these little characters with a sneeze. But not needing to wait for Xiao Yan to be re-energized, these people are unable to take advantage of him even right now. For Lin Feng this is entirely an opportunity delivered straight to him. Lowering his head, checking his Taoist robe and adjusting the Taoist crown on his head, after confirming that his image was without flaw, Lin Feng let out a dry cough and prepared to make his appearance. If you guys want to spar then Xiao Yan ge doesn't need fight, Zhen Er play around with you guys. TL. Zhen Er is the name of the girl that is talking. She refers to herself in third person in this case. Also ge means brother, the meaning here is like appa. Hearing this Lin Feng almost stepped on his Taoist robe and fell over. He hastily stopped his footsteps and looked over, seeing a young girl wearing a purple dress beautifully standing in front of Xiao Yan, quietly staring at those people that were provoking Xiao Yan. The girl's cold, indifferent aura was like a newly blossoming lotus. Such a young age, but she already had the shape of a refined aura. It's hard to imagine how beautiful this girl will be when she grows up in the future. Lin Feng, who was watching far away, also secretly praised her. This girl is already a stunning beauty at such a young age and is slightly superior to Murong Yanran, almost equal to that peach tree demon Longyi. When this Zhen Er grows up a bit more she'll probably be able to rival Longyi. Only she really came at the wrong time. Before Lin Feng had the time to feel regret, he suddenly heard the system notification sound rise up. Discovered target, suitable to become host's disciple. HM. Could it be that my luck has taken a turn for the better? Lin Feng was dazed for a moment and was then overjoyed. His gaze once again looked towards the purple-clothed girl like looking at a golden hen that can lay golden eggs. Talent system has finished organizing, target number 3's data is as so. Bone root 9, comprehension 8, will 7, luck 6. Conclusion. Target's talent in extremely high, recommended to take in as a disciple and carefully guide her, she will definitely become a pillar of the sect. Special note. The target's current level is a stage higher than host's. Lin Feng was listening cheerfully to the system notification sounds, but when he heard the last sentence he became speechless. A stage higher than me, isn't that a foundation establishment stage cultivator? Lin Feng swallowed his saliva, closely observing the purple-clothed girl. He saw that the mana in her body was abundant and formed a loop, as if it were inexhaustible. This is exactly the symbol of Qi Disciple Level 12 Great Perfection. Qi Disciple Level 12 Great Perfection, the 12 nerve points are all unlocked and connected as one. The mana stored in the nerve points is no longer isolated as pools of dead water like before, but has instead turned into a surging river, constantly circulating in the truth cultivator's body. Generally speaking, Qi Disciple Level 12 cultivators are far stronger than Qi Disciple Level 11 cultivators. But Foundation Establishment Stage is an entirely different concept. If Qi Disciple Level 12 is a river, then Foundation Establishment Stage is an ocean. The two cannot be compared. Even though no matter how Lin Feng looked, the purple-clothed girl was still a level of peak Chi disciple, but since the system said she is foundation establishment stage, Lin Feng still decided to believe it. Who knows if this little chick has some sort of means to hide her level. Knowing that this girl has foundation establishment stage strength, Lin Feng immediately got rid of his thought of trying to take her as his disciple in the recent future. There's no other reason, this girl definitely has a big background. Reaching foundation establishment stage at 13, 14 years of age, this kind of cultivating speed is even scarier than Xiao Yan's. The two people's bone root and comprehension aren't that different. That means this purple-clothed girl has obtained much better cultivating resources than Xiao Yan since she was little. Before figuring out her background, Lin Feng will not act rashly. Of course, she can be a long-term target. The focal point in the short term is still Xiao Yan, this main character. With the purple-clothed girl standing out, the couple of teens attempting to provoke Xiao Yan could naturally only retreat. The group of people left the lake, cursing while walking. Really don't understand why Miss Chen Air protects that trash. Exactly, it's practically inconceivable. Lin Feng secretly laughed after listening. This Miss Chen Air is 9 out of 10 the queen prepared for Xiao Yan, this king. TL. A lot of times when you see me translate the word into main character, the word is, this term usually refers to the emperor or a female's destined one. Sometimes I also translate it as one chosen by the heavens when the author uses it and the word for main character in the same sentence. A deep background, and she is able to bring help to Xiao Yan. Her own talent is high and her cultivating speed can also keep up with Xiao Yan's advancing footsteps, so she won't be sidelined. Her personality is also good, gentle and strong, soft on the outside and tough on the inside. Moreover, she loves Xiao Yan to her very core. Tut tut, this is practically the perfect main woman template. While randomly think Lin Feng followed those teenagers, walking to a place that Xiao Yan and Zhen Er cannot see. Lin Feng asked smilingly. That is the Xiao family prodigy that everybody in the city knows. How come he only knows how to hide under the skirts of women? Those teenagers were all stunned for a moment and then had the feeling of meeting a BFF, feeling that Lin Feng's sentence virtually said what was in their hearts. One person sighed, saying, "You don't understand, that's Miss Chen Er keeping old friendships in mind. She and Xiao Yan grew up together, so after Xiao Yan turned into trash she still protected him." One of the teens beside him snorted coldly. It's just that trash is too thick-skinned, taking advantage of Miss Chen Er. If I was him I'd have crawled into a hole long ago. After laughing and going along with them for a couple lines, he seemingly asked by chance, "Why is that Xiao Yan wearing a string around his neck with 2 rings on it? This is pretty interesting, it's my first time seeing that." One of the teens curled his lips. One is left to him by his father, one is left to him by his mother. His father and mother are both dead right now. We all say that those 2 rings are cursed. It's just Xiao Yan that still treats them like treasure and carries them around with him, afraid to lose them. After hearing this, everything in front of Lin Feng went black. Fuck, relics of his parents, there's no mistake this time. Double the heritage, double the opportunity, double the old grandpas. Lin Feng turned around and left. Of course he's not giving up on Xiao Yan, instead he needs to make more adequate preparations. He will not stop if he doesn't succeed. So what if it's 2 old grandpas? The disciple is still mine. Chapter 15. It's not easy being a milk dad. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lin Feng left the lake and went to the market, buying a good dozen different kinds of animal milk. Returning to his place, Xiao Budian was sitting cross-legged, quietly doing his breathing technique. The little guy may still like to play around, but he who has matured early is very serious in terms of cultivating, carrying a tenacity that regular people do not have and working extremely hard. Lin Feng watched and secretly nodded his head. That clan brother of Xiao Buridan's has brought to Xiao Budian an enormous pressure. Xiao Budian is in the middle of a meditating state. Lin Feng did not pay attention to him, going to sit at the side and taking out a crystal in the shape of a semi-dot circle recessed at the center, like the form of a big bowl. This is the remaining stone shell left behind after Lin Feng cut it open and took out the Heaven Thunder Moon Jade. Even though it is not as valuable as the Heaven Thunder Moon Jade, it is still a type of natural treasure and harbors a large amount of thunder energy. Being cut open by Lin Feng, there were originally 2 pieces of the stone shell. One was left at Stone Village to help strengthen the bodies of the villagers and children of Stone Village, the other piece the old village elder insisted on Lin Feng to bring it along. Lin Feng scraped off a little piece from the stone shell. These little crystal pieces can be used by Lin Feng as the materials for setting up the 9 Heaven Thunder summoning, and it is also because of this stone shell that Lin Feng doesn't need to exchange for thunder crystals from the system, saving on additional expenses. Speaking of it, not only the Heaven Thunder Moon Jade, most likely even this stone shell was also originally a lucky treasure prepared for Xiao Budian. Lin Feng thought in his heart. Taking Xiao Budian as my disciple, this lucky opportunity has also become mine. Putting away the scraped-off crystal piece, Lin Feng placed the stone shell in front of him. Through his deliberate polishing, the stone shell right now was already a large bowl grinded from an entire thunder crystal. The animal milk that was placed in the kitchen to be heated up was also finished at this time. After the inn's waiter brought it in, Lin Feng poured all of the animal milk into the big thunder crystal bowl. After thinking for a moment, he then took out the Heaven Thunder Moon Jade. The Heaven Thunder Moon Jade that was originally the size of a fist was now only the size of an egg after Lin Feng's constant use of it these past few days. Lin Feng no longer prepared to absorb energy from within it again to help himself train, he needs to leave a portion to act as the Northern Aurora Sword's energy source. But besides this, he can also use it to add an extra meal for Xiao Budian. Soaking the Heaven Thunder Moon Jade in the animal milk, Lin Feng used his own mana as a guide to assimilate a bit of thunder energy into the milk. In the first place, the Thunder Crystal Bowl and the Heaven Thunder Moon Jade are from the same source. With the energy of the Heaven Thunder Moon Jade as a guide, the thunder energy in the big Thunder Crystal Bowl also instantly flowed out and mixed into the animal milk in the bowl. The milk-white animal milk, releasing a sweet milk fragrance, instantly started tossing around like it was boiling. On the surface, massive bubbles constantly rose up and then popped one after another. Arcs of tiny blue and violet lightning shuttled and weaved in the milk, releasing crackling electrical current sounds. At this time, Xiao Budian finally finished training, waking up from his state of meditation. Just waking up, his little nose took in 2 sniffs. Xiao Budian opened his eyes. Seeing Lin Feng and the animal milk in the thunder crystal bowl, he immediately let out a cry of joy. "Master!" He abruptly jumped up and went over to Lin Feng, circling around the big bowl, 2 big, black eyes staring straight at the animal milk and muttering, "Smells so good." Lin Feng laughed, taking out the Heaven Thunder Moon Jade from the bowl and handing the bowl over to Xiao Budian. He warning him, saying, "Master has added some extra ingredients into the milk, be careful when you drink it. Use your mana to guide the energy in the milk, if you feel uncomfortable stop right away." Xiao Budian repeatedly nodded his head, taking over the bowl with a big smiling face and wolfing it down, drinking the bowl clean of animal milk in a moment. Xiao Budian had a great time drinking it, but the side effects after drinking it also showed up. Xiao Budian, who was usually very cute, transformed into a problem child, possessing a pair of big red eyes like a white rabbit and running around everywhere, yelling non-stop. Lin Feng didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He'd already told the little guy that he has to use his mana to guide the energy in the milk while drinking it. But look at what this guy did, he only cared about eating happily and completely threw the matter of guiding the energy to the back of his head. Seeing Xiao Budian transform into a tiny beast, barging around everywhere and messing things up, if Lin Feng doesn't stop him soon he'll demolish the entire inn. Helplessly, Lin Feng could only take action himself to stop Xiao Budian. When Xiao Budian woke up and saw his master's black face, he immediately understood what happened. He scratched his head in a daze, saying in a tiny voice. I screwed up. Being sent away by the inn's manager, Lin Feng angrily and amusingly poked Xiao Budian's tiny noggin. When we captured maternal animals in the jungle you always jumped straight in and started drinking. Now we've arrived in the city, if you want to drink milk again then buy it at the market. After you've bought the animal milk you have to use this bowl to drink it. From now on this is your personal food bowl. Take care of your own food bowl. Xiao Budian repeatedly nodded his head, happily hugging the thunder crystal bowl. Thank you master. Seeing his happy look Lin Feng also felt happy in his heart. After advising him a bit more Lin Feng crossed his legs and sat down. Lin Feng carefully studied the uses of the Northern Aurora sword along with Cloud Dragon Escape and Nine Heaven Thunder summoning these two spells. In his mind he thought about how he can put the cards already in his hands to the greatest use that I am a dividing line. At the edge of the boundless mountains a couple of fiery, crimson-red lights flashed by, landing on the ground. A dozen red-clothed people stood together, their entire bodies surged with mana. Blazing fire energy thrashed around without stop like a furnace, the grass shrubs beneath their feet and the surrounding ancient, towering trees all slowly withered from the heat. Of the leading three people, the mana of two of them was as deep as the ocean, mighty and endless. They were Foundation Establishment Stage cultivators. But right now these two Foundation Establishment Stage cultivators were both respectfully standing behind the other old man. The old man has a head of red hair that is very showy, his appearance is very fierce but not a shred of his body reveals the aura of one with power, he is just like a regular human. But behind the old man, all of the red-clothed people including the two Foundation Establishment Stage cultivators are all using a gaze of reverence to look at him. An aura's core big shot, even if not a shred of aura is revealed it is still enough to make everybody afraid. Everybody's gaze looked in the distance outside of the mountains, that is the direction of Wuzhou City. One of the Foundation Establishment Stage cultivators suddenly opened his mouth asking. You're certain they left the mountains? One of the people behind him stood out and bowed. It was precisely the red-robed youth that Xiao Budian tricked before. He replied respectfully. According to the traces that they left behind they were indeed heading outside of the mountains. A fiery light flickered in the Foundation Establishment Stage cultivator's eyes. He looked towards the direction of Wuzhou City. Exiting the mountains from here the closest big city is Wuzhou City. We'll go check out over there first. The red-robed youth hesitated for a moment and asked. Even though Wuzhou is located at the border, from the geography it is closer to the Celeritas Sword Sect's territory. The other Foundation Establishment Stage cultivator waved his hands. If that kid really does possess the talent that you say he has, then even if it's the Empty Shoe Sword Sect's territory we still need to give it a go. The red-haired old man that did not speak the entire time suddenly opened his mouth saying. Enough with the nonsense. Let's go, our target is Wuzhou. Before his voice had even died away he patted the flying sword on his back, the sword aura that was already like a burning fire charged into the sky. The group of Blaze Sword Sect cultivators all followed closely behind him, one after another streaks of fiery red light soared across the sky like meteors, rushing towards Wuzhou City. I am a dividing line. At the same time, Lin Feng was quietly meditating in an inn in Wuzhou City when someone suddenly knocked on the door. Lin Feng opened the room door, the waiter was standing outside of the door with a fawning smile. Seeing Lin Feng he said with a smile. Sir, didn't you tell me to pay attention to anything interesting that happens in the city and to tell you at the first moment? Well there really is something now. Lin Feng smiled lightly, casually throwing a piece of silver to him. The waiter instantly became overjoyed, he didn't dare to keep Lin Feng guessing and hurriedly said. You know how the Xiao family's young master Xiao Yan can no longer cultivate. Before when he was still a cultivating prodigy he had a marriage engagement, now the female side has come knocking on the door. Murong Yanran has finally arrived at Wuzhou. Chapter 16. Fighting for the post of old grandpa. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lin Feng sent away the waiter with an indifferent expression. Closing the door, he could no longer control his smile, a smile blossoming on his face. Murong Yanran has arrived at Wuzhou City, the legendary marriage annulment is finally about to happen. Lin Feng turned his head towards Xiao Budian and said. Silly boy, come with master. Xiao Budian's big, black eyes started turning. Master, where are we going? Lin Feng smiled saying. Originally you were about to have your first junior, but you volunteered to be the smallest, so you're about to have your first senior. Bringing along Xiao Budian, Lin Feng arrived at the side of the little lake that Xiao Yan comes to regularly. He spread the polished thunder crystals on the grass field beside the lake in the pattern of a formation to set up the magic formation for activating the 9 heaven thunder summoning. Even though based on Lin Feng's plan he doesn't necessarily have to fight, but you always need to prepare for everything. Finishing doing everything, Lin Feng brought along Xiao Budian and headed towards the Xiao family's mansion. When they arrived outside of the mansion, they just perfectly saw Xiao Yan in his body of black clothes walk out from the door. The black-clothed teen stopped his footsteps but did not look back, only spitting out a cold line. 3 years later I will find you. The teen's shadow was stretched out extremely long under the illumination of the sun. He looks lonely and desolate. At the big door behind him you can see Murong Yanran's small mouth slightly opened, staring at Xiao Yan's back a bit blankly. In the young girl's hand she is holding a contract that is shaking as if about to fall, seemingly becoming as heavy as 1,000 pounds. Finishing speaking, Xiao Yan walked out of the door by himself. Since you guys have already reached your goal, then please leave now. An old voice came from within the yard, that is the Xiao family's clan leader, Xiao Yan's grandfather. Grandpa Xiao, Yanran apologizes to you for the matter today. If you have time in the future, please visit the Murong family. Her goal has already been reached and Murong Yanran also doesn't want to stay any longer. She left the Xiao family's mansion together with the white-robed youth and Yi Gu. The young lady of the Murong family, I hope that in the future you will not feel regret due to your pompous actions today. In addition, don't think that you can do whatever you want because you have the Celeritas sword sect at your back. The Heaven Primal world is very big, forces stronger than the Celeritas sword sect are also not in the little. The moment that Murong Yanran and company were about to walk out of the door, a brisk voice carrying a slight coldness suddenly rose up. The 3 people's footsteps abruptly stopped, turning their heads and looking over. Xiao Zhener was beautifully standing on top of the walls of the mansion, rays of sunlight shone past her back just perfectly wrapping her within it. From far away she is like a violet lotus flower blossoming in the mundane world, pure and graceful, not dirted by this world. Lin Feng also praised Xiao Zhener's charm, but in his heart he was secretly delighted. The good and the bad between the people is too obvious, I don't even need to think about how to take you as a disciple. Once I take in Xiao Yan, then you'll also be in my palms. Facing the gazes of Murong Yanran and company, a slender golden flame suddenly appeared in the girl's beautiful, limpid eyes. Looking at the tiny golden fire in the girl's eyes, Yi Ji's body violently shook for an instant, a terrified expression covered his old face in an instant. In a panic his dried hands grabbed onto Murong Yanran and the white-robed youth who were in the middle of being puzzled and then running for his life. Looking at Yi Ji's actions, besides the Xiao family's old clan leader, everybody else couldn't help but have a dumbfounded expression. Lin Feng felt a jolt in his heart. Even if she is already at foundation establishment stage at such a young age, she still shouldn't frighten so badly Yi Gu, who is also at the foundation establishment stage. Looks like there's something strange about the golden flame in her eyes just now. This chick's background is odd. Based on the routine, if she isn't the holy maiden of an ancient clan, then she is the princess of some sort of big country. If I'm wrong, then I'll write my name backwards. Lin Feng was secretly glad that he didn't rashly go and mess with this little girl whose background is suspected to be extremely terrifying. Let's just take in Xiao Yan first and then talk about it. Everything has already demonstrated that this little girl will definitely follow to wherever Xiao Yan goes. When Xiao Yan becomes my disciple, then Xiao Zhener won't be far away. When doing something, one has to be good at grasping the principal contradiction. While thinking, Lin Feng brought Xiao Budian and quietly left the Xiao family's mansion, chasing after Xiao Yan following the direction he left. Xiao Yan at this time will definitely go to the little lake at the northern part of the city and lick his wounds. Sure enough, in a bit Lin Feng had already caught up to Xiao Yan. The black-clothed teen right now is like an injured lone wolf, his entire body is emitting a cold, unwelcoming aura. Hee, strength. Without strength you're even worse than a pile of dog's hit. At least no one dares to step on dog's hit. His shoulders lightly trembling, the teen's hoarse and self-mocking laughter lingered in the air, carrying an air of grief and anger. Xiao Yan's teeth tightly bit his lips, allowing that faint blood to spread at the corners of his lips. Even though he did not display any inappropriate emotions in the hall, the words that Murong Yenran said were like blades cutting into his heart, making his entire body shake. Dad, Mom. Grabbing the 2 rings in front of his chest hanging on a string, Xiao Yan's expression was sad. His mother died of sickness many years ago. 3 years ago his father was seriously injured in a fight and died in the end, only leaving these 2 rings to him. Before his father died, Xiao Yan once swore that he would definitely become a powerful truth cultivator and get revenge for his father. But who knew that after just swearing his oath a day before, a great change happened to his body and he transformed from a prodigy into trash. After this, no matter how hard he worked, he was only able to march on the spot at Chi Disciple Level 1. I must not give up, for father, for mother and for today. Opening his left hand that has a blood stain on it, Xiao Yan's voice was hoarse but firm. I don't want to suffer again the humiliation today. In the front, Xiao Yan was walking while setting his determination, while behind him Lin Feng was watching with his blood boiling. Sure enough, after the marriage annulment this kid's seed factor explodes. Just looking from the side it feels like his body is harboring an endless aura of domination, like a surging river about to flood the lands. TL. Seed Factor, Gundam Seed Destiny, Google it. Seeing that the old grandpas in those 2 rings still didn't have any movement, Lin Feng did not dare to have any hesitation, walking forward and blocking in front of Xiao Yan. Are you kidding me? Those guys are being carried around everywhere by a main character, they are in a favorable position. If I don't grasp hold of the chance, I won't even be able to get any soup. Nowadays you also need to fight for the post of old grandpa. Hee, kid, looks like you need some help. Lin Feng casually said with a light chuckle. Xiao Yan looked with a stunned expression at the youthful Daoist wearing white Daoist robes and a Daoist crown in front of him. After being stunned for a moment he wrinkled his brows, asking. Who are you? What do you want to do? Lin Feng laughed coolly. There is no rush in asking who I am. Don't you think that the problem you should be caring about the most is why you've reached such a stage? Xiao Yan's gaze immediately became as cold as a blade. You know. Beneath his cold gaze was a blazing fire. Lin Feng let out a long laugh. Follow me and you will naturally know all of the details. Finishing speaking, Lin Feng used the ability of Cloud Dragon Escape, grabbing Xiao Yan and flying into the air, flying towards the little lake at the northern part of the city. Xiao Yan was greatly startled, but right now his level is only Chi Disciple Level 1, he is simply unable to break free from Lin Feng's hand. He calmed down and started observing, immediately being struck with awe in his heart. Using Cloud Dragon Escape, it was like Lin Feng had turned into a preeminent divine dragon outside of the heavens, soaring in the clouds. A divine dragon, when it moves, it soars above the 9 heavens, when hidden, it roams within the 4 seas. Its breath becomes clouds, its spit becomes rain, controlling the winds and thunder with endless might. The essence and spirit of Cloud Dragon Escape was displayed perfectly by Lin Feng. But what made Xiao Yan the most shocked was still Xiao Budian, who looks to be only 3-4 years of age and following closely behind Lin Feng. Master, wait for me. Xiao Budian was also using the body movements of Cloud Dragon Escape. His doll-like appearance also carried a sort of a heavenly aura like an immortal, making him look even more remarkable. Xiao Yan has seen many Qi disciple level 4 truth cultivators, but kids that are able to reach a level of Qi disciple level 4 at Xiao Budian's age, don't mention seeing it. Xiao Yan has never even heard of it before. Xiao Yan did not feel much pressure from Lin Feng. The feeling that Lin Feng gave him was like a completely normal person that hasn't practiced any Dao techniques. But it is exactly this young Daoist wearing a white Daoist robe with a Daoist crown that produced Xiao Budian. Being able to produce such an outstanding disciple his own level naturally can't be too low and especially can't be a normal human. Then there's only one explanation left. This seemingly young Daoist has already reached the level of returning to one's original nature, which is why he cannot see through him. Maybe he really does know what's wrong with my body. Xiao Yan couldn't resist thinking. Lin Feng wasn't clear about Xiao Yan's psychological state, but seeing his expression he knows that he has already successfully established the image of a master in Xiao Yan's heart. This is precisely the reason why he wanted to bring Xiao Budian along. He had no choice, this kid was honestly too outstanding of an advertisement. He fully displayed to the outer world the results of Lin Feng's teachings. Sometimes Lin Feng himself also rejoices about him encountering Xiao Budian the earliest. This will directly reduce the difficulty in the future of him tricking people to be his disciple. Reaching the lakeside in the blink of an eye, Lin Feng put down Xiao Yan. Xiao Yan looked at Xiao Budian and then looked at Lin Feng, asking after taking a deep breath. Please tell me, senior, exactly what is wrong with my body. Lin Feng smiled lightly, extending his finger and lightly tapping Xiao Yan's chest. Your problem is in these 2 rings. Chapter 17. Old Grandma. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Your problem lies in these 2 rings. Lin Feng smiled lightly, his finger lightly tapping the 2 rings hanging before Xiao Yan's chest. Xiao Yan's expression became a bit cold. This senior also believes that there is a curse on these 2 rings of mine. Towards Xiao Yan's change in expression, Lin Feng treated it like he didn't see it, his tone suddenly changing. But these 2 rings of yours have nothing to do with curses. Instead of saying that the massive change in your body is a natural disaster, it would be better to say that it is man-made disaster. Man-made disaster. Xiao Yan was slightly confused, and then closely following his face became extremely somber. Senior is saying that someone is deliberately harming me. It's definitely not my parents. Then that means even the death of my parents is also related to the person harming me. Lin Feng secretly gave a big thumbs up in his heart. Good kid, nice connection, you have a bright future. He waved his hands, casually looking at Xiao Zan's small, overcast face. Right now I cannot lay claim to whether or not the deaths of your parents have something to do with these rings, but the massive change in your body is precisely the result caused by these 2 rings. In the rings there live spirits, these spirits are constantly absorbing your mana to strengthen themselves. Lin Feng slowly said, his voice was calm but it weighed on Xiao Yan's heart like a massive mountain. This is the reason why your level suddenly regressed 3 years ago. This is also the crux of the matter as to why even though you also trained hard in the 3 years afterwards, you didn't obtain any advancements. Because the mana you trained hard for to obtain all became the nourishment of the spirits. Xiao Yan lowered his head looking towards the 2 rings at his chest, his dazed expression slowly revealing hatred. Looking at the change in his expression, Lin Feng let out a breath of relief in his heart, secretly laughing. This is what's called a preemptive strike. Putting you guys in the role of the villain first, let's see how you guys fight with me. Didn't you guys think that you guys were in a favorable position? Still they're putting on noble and magnificent airs, waiting for Xiao Yan to come and beg you guys. Are you dumbfounded now? Lin Feng was complacent in his heart, he was not framing people. Maybe those old grandpas in the rings can help Xiao Yan soar to success, but it is also most likely them that caused Xiao Yan to fall from the clouds before. Without the addition of Lin Feng they would naturally be able to trick Xiao Yan and use large amounts of techniques and medicines to atone for themselves. But now with Lin Feng's preemptive strike and not giving them a chance to fix things, all that remains between them and Xiao Yan is hatred. At the same time as being smug, Lin Feng was also secretly on guard. Next up he might have to go head-on against the old grandpas in the rings. Lin Feng lifted his head, glancing at the sky. Summer's weather is like a child's mood, changing without notice. Before it was still bright and sunny, now it is already cloudy and overcast with rolling thunder. Lin Feng breathed a slight breath of relief in his heart. Good thing the weather changed, or else Nine Heaven Thunder summoning wouldn't be able to exert its full power. Now, I have enough cards up my sleeves to play with you guys. Arriving at the point where the only thing that remains is a crippled soul and living in a ring waiting to be the old grandpa for people, regardless of how great their backgrounds were in the past and how powerful their strength was, right now they are still in an extremely weakened state. The eastern wind blows, the war drums sound, we're all old grandpas who's afraid of who. Right when Xiao Yan was grinding his teeth and grabbing the rings at his chest, a long, soft sigh rose up beside his and Lin Feng's ears. If not for your sacrifice, I don't know how much longer I'd have to sleep for. Xiao Yan blankly stared at the ring in his hand. A white mist of light surfaced on the ring, gradually forming a human figure in the air, from hazy to clear, in the end becoming intricately detailed and vivid. Lin Feng also stared at the figure of light blankly. Accurately speaking, since the person's voice rose up, Lin Feng had already descended into a blank state. Because that is clearly a woman's voice. It's not an old grandpa but an old grandma. Lin Feng's mind was in a bit of a mess. Looking closely at the figure of light, saying that she is an old grandma is undoubtedly a bit rude. This is an extremely beautiful woman, a light green long gown blowing with the wind. She possesses an indescribable elegance, gazing at the clear stream from above with a calm composure. The green-gowned woman's eyes turned, her gaze landing on Lin Feng's body after only taking a glance at Xiao Yan. Looking at her, a literary work that he had read in his past life suddenly appeared in Lin Feng's mind, on the goddess of Luo River. Her body soars lightly like a startled swan, gracefully like a dragon in flight, in splendor brighter than the autumn chrysanthemum, in bloom more flourishing than the pine in the spring. Dim as the moon mantled in filmy clouds, restless as snow whirled by the driving wind. This is the feeling of Chao Ji when he first saw the goddess of Luo River. Lin Feng's mind thought randomly, but in his heart there sounded the highest level of alert. TL. Chao Ji is the brother of Cao Cao and a famous poet. Compared to the green-gowned woman's beauty, Morong Yenran lacks composure and Xiao Zhen appears a bit too young. Of all the people that Lin Feng has seen in his life, there is probably only that peach tree demon Long Yi that can compare to her. Long Yi and her are both fine blossoms in their season, equally matched. But just like when he faced Long Yi before, facing this stunning beauty right now, Lin Feng could not muster up a single shred of passion in his heart. On the contrary, his heart felt a bit cold. This green-gowned woman's danger level is definitely at the level as Long Yi. Maybe spending every day with Xiao Zhener and growing up with her trained Xiao Yan's outlook. Right now Xiao Yan also has no thoughts of praise or admiration, instead staring at the green-gowned woman with a face of hostility. Sacrifice. Xiao Yan's tone was deathly cold. The change in my body is really your doing. The green-gowned woman lightly sighed. Mingyue also had no choice, please do not blame me. TL. Mingyue is the name of the woman speaking. Her full name is Yan Mingyue. Mingyue means bright moon and her surname means swallow, bird. I don't blame you. Fuck you. Xiao Yan could no longer hold back, tugging apart the string around his neck and throwing out the ring the green-robed woman's figure of light takes shelter in. TL. For the fuck you part, directly translated he says something like I blame fuck you. In Chinese it sounds like I blame your mom. The ring strangely stopped in mid-air, just silently floating in the air like that. After slightly shaking, the projected figure of light re-stabilized itself. The green-gowned woman lightly sighed. Mingyue can understand that you are mad, but please note that the other ring you are wearing is actually the true source of your misfortune these past 3 years. While speaking, her gaze looked towards Lin Feng. This fellow Taoist has eyes like a torch that pierces through the dark. The mana that Xiao Yan painstakingly cultivated these past 3 years was indeed absorbed by me, for this I express my deep apologies. But the misfortune 3 years ago of Xiao Yan regressing from Qi disciple great perfection to Qi disciple level 1 has nothing to do with me. Xiao Yan's face was cold like a pool of frozen water, looking at the green-gowned woman and then looking at Lin Feng, in the end his gaze landing on the second ring in his hand. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent, as if everything was in his control. Outsiders could not tell what he was truly thinking from his expression. But in actuality the sense of crisis in Lin Feng's heart was becoming increasingly more serious. This woman is not easy to deal with. With just a few short lines, not only did she get rid of the majority of her responsibility, she also obtained the leading position in the conversation, making Xiao Yan's attention start to follow her rhythm. The green-gowned woman calmly stared at Lin Feng and Xiao Yan. In that ring there lives the crippled soul of an ancient beast, a Tao Tai. Tao Tai. Xiao Yan was shocked. In legends, Tao Tai is one of the ancient 4 great fiends, known together with Hun Dun, Qiongqi and Tao Wu as the king of fiends. TL. These will appear in the future with descriptions, but you can Google them if you want. Tao Tai's nature is avarice, devouring all. At their peak they can even swallow the heavens and devour the earth, destroying all life. Even great primordial spirit cultivators get a headache if they encounter this kind of fierce beast. All attacks against Tao Tai will be swallowed by it with its large mouth. Being so savage and gluttonous, it is truly difficult to deal with. Lin Feng also slightly wrinkled his brows, looking towards the second ring in Xiao Yan's hands. The green-gowned woman continued saying, 10 years ago, due to being seriously injured, I was forced to place my soul in this ring of yours. After that I was asleep the whole time until 3 years ago, when I discovered that Tao Tai had devoured all of your mana and even wanted to devour your life force. I used the Heaven Cage sigil to seal that Tao Tai's soul, but my own soul had expended too much energy and was forced to enter a deep sleep again. The green-gowned woman had an apologetic expression. It is also in the process of this second deep sleep that I unconsciously absorbed the new mana that you cultivated to repair my soul, and yet this created trouble for you. Please forgive me. Even though Xiao Yan had a face of doubt, his expression had clearly already softened down. The expression on Lin Feng's face didn't change, but his heart became increasingly heavier, especially when he flipped through the trading system and found the ability of the Heaven Cage sigil. After he saw the description of it, his heart sank to the bottom. Heaven Cage sigil, a sigil using one's own mana to set down a cage, sealing the mana of others. Against spiritual targets the effect is increased. Note: a unique esoteric ability of the number 1 sect in Heaven Primal's cultivating world, the leader of the 3 great holy lands, the Void Temple. Chapter 18. So what if it's the number 1 holy land? You are listening at novelfull.audio. When Lin Feng discovered that the green-gowned woman's background is the Void Temple, his heart suddenly sank. In this Heaven Primal world, even women and children know that the strongest 3 sects are the Taoist Holy Land, the Void Temple, the Buddhist Holy Land, the Great Thunder Monastery, and the Holy Land of the Way of the Sword, the Empty Shoe Sword Sect. But even the Great Thunder Monastery and the Empty Shoe Sword Sect, they may not say it, but in their hearts they have to admit that there is also a distinction between the 3 great holy lands. And the Void Temple is undoubtedly the head of the 3 great holy lands, the number 1 sect in the world. Different from the 2 holy lands having many followers and disciples all across the land, the Void Temple is actually very low profile, and its number of disciples is also not high. But as long as there are disciples of the Void Temple entering the world, it will definitely shake the entire world. The Void Temple walks the elite path in taking disciples. Their threshold is ridiculously high. The disciples taken in are all extremely talented cultivating prodigies. Not considering other aspects, just speaking of bone root and comprehension, the average value of the Void Temple's disciples is definitely number one in the world. Without exaggeration, that place has the highest density of the heaven primal worlds cultivating prodigies. The Void Temple's Tao techniques and abilities are also famous throughout heaven primal. Their supreme Taoist scripture, Profundity of the Void Tao, is hailed as the Tao technique closest to the way of the heavens. As long as it is practiced, one is guaranteed to achieve the great realm of primordial spirit. Moreover, the Heaven Cage Sigil is the Void Temple's signature spell. Its name is widespread in the cultivating world. Even Xiao Yan thought of the Heaven Cage Sigil's origins after a short period of confusion, unable to help but be surprised. Did you just say the Heaven Cage Sigil? You're a disciple of the Void Temple. The green-gowned woman lightly nodded her head. My name is Yan Mingyue, my sect is precisely the Void Temple. Xiao Yan's expression became complicated and a bit saddened. The Void Temple. Lin Feng was bitter in the mouth. He thought of the numerous rumors related to Xiao Yan in Wuzhou City, one of which is that when Xiao Yan displayed astounding talent in that past, he once caught the attention of the Void Temple and they had intentions of taking in Xiao Yan. Looking at Xiao Yan's expression right now, you can tell that this rumor is real. Even using his toes to think, Lin Feng understands Xiao Yan's current feelings. After all, that is the publicly acknowledged number one holy land in the world. Being able to become a disciple of the Void Temple, not only does Xiao Yan himself step upon a brilliant path of cultivation, even the entire Xiao family will gain prestige and honor. And afterwards Xiao Yan suddenly changed from a prodigy to a scrub, thus the Void Temple brushed past his shoulders. What you cannot have is always the best. The Void Temple might have become a knot in his heart, a massive regret. Even worse, it might also involve the regrets of his deceased parents, such as, even until death we did not get to see our son become a disciple of the Void Temple, and other such words. Under this kind of circumstance, if there is a new chance to enter into the Void Temple placed in front of Xiao Yan, how will he choose? Lin Feng was a bit afraid to think any further. So what if it's the Void Temple? So what if it's the number one holy land? Lin Feng steeled his heart. If I get this Xiao Yan, I might even be able to catch a Xiao Zhener. Missing this kind of amazing buy one get one free deal is sacrilegious. Lin Feng closely observed her and discovered that Yan Mingyue's tone of voice is calm and composed, her gaze looking at Xiao Yan is apologetic but not fervent. Yan Mingyue's expression does not look faked. This means that she is only apologetic towards Xiao Yan and might refer Xiao Yan into the Void Temple out of compensation. But she does not think highly of Xiao Yan's talent and is not determined to take him as her disciple. It's not surprising. She comes from the Void Temple. Since she was little she grew up in a pile of prodigies. What kind of astounding prodigies has she not seen? She herself is probably a cultivating genius with shocking talent. Since it's like this, it's given Lin Feng an opportunity. Lin Feng pondered non-stop in his heart. Suddenly a thought flashed across in his mind. Lin Feng's face revealed a warm smile like a ray of sunlight, his gaze turning towards Xiao Yan beside him. Tao Tai. It's really been a long time since I last saw one. Lin Feng's gaze sized up the second ring in Xiao Yan's palm, the corners of his lips revealing an interesting smile. Xiao Yan blanked. Yan Mingyue's gaze also looked towards Lin Feng, her eyes flashing a difficult-to-understand brilliance. This fellow Taoist has seen a living pure-blooded Tao Tai before. Yan Mingyue stared at Lin Feng, her red lips lightly opening. How do you call yourself? Lin Feng lightly smiled. I am but a humble man from the mountains, my name is not worth mentioning. My surname is Lin, you can just call me Taoist Lin. Finishing speaking, not waiting for Yan Mingyue to respond, Lin Feng followed saying. Just now I heard fellow Taoist Yan mention that 10 years ago you were injured and then took shelter in this ring, right? Right now Lin Feng has to take back the initiative of this conversation. He absolutely cannot give Yan Mingyue a chance. He cannot allow her to mention the matter of referring Xiao Yan to the Void Temple as compensation, or else Xiao Yan will immediately lower his head and bow down, then it'll be none of Lin Feng's business anymore. Yan Mingyue glanced at Lin Feng. This glance seemed to see right into his heart. Maybe she doesn't know exactly what Lin Feng is thinking, but she clearly sees Lin Feng's intent of controlling the initiative of the conversation. Lin Feng's expression was normal, but the back of his palms were already sweating. This woman is too clever, it's like she can see through the hearts of people. She is clearly as calm as water without any aggressive intentions, but she brings to Lin Feng pressure as big as a mountain. Although luckily Yan Mingyue did not continue probing, only calmly nodding her head. It was indeed 10 years ago. Due to the protection of the system she cannot see the depths of Lin Feng's level, but in this world the number of people that can make her unable to see through them is honestly too little. Due to this, even though it's their first time meeting, Yan Mingyue's attitude towards Lin Feng displayed a certain degree of respect. Lin Feng nodded his head. Not long ago I once met a demon. That demon was evidently also gravely injured and was forced to place its spirit in an old peach tree. Xiao Yan looked at Lin Feng a bit strangely, not understanding why he suddenly mentioned this seemingly unrelated topic. Yan Mingyue's expression did not change, only silently looking at Lin Feng and waiting for the next part. Lin Feng lifted his eyes and looked straight at her eyes. The gazes of the two people were both calm and distant. Lin Feng said coolly. According to the locals, that demon also suddenly appeared 10 years ago. Oh right, it's a female demon. A change finally occurred in Yan Mingyue's expression, lowering her eyes, her thin, long eyelashes slightly trembling. Does this fellow Taoist know that female demon's origins? Lin Feng shook his head and then looked at her, pausing after each word and saying. I only know she calls herself Long Yi. Yan Mingyue's face revealed a slight smile, her gaze looking towards the distant but without focus. After a long while she let out a long sigh. I didn't die, and sure enough she didn't die either. Yan Mingyue turned her head towards Lin Feng, saying seriously. Thank you fellow Taoist for telling me this news. Do you know the whereabouts of that Long Yi? In his heart Lin Feng said he didn't know, but once that female demon recovers she's most likely going to come and find my trouble. He lightly shook his head. This I do not know. While he spoke, Lin Feng was always closely observing Yan Mingyue, paying attention to every little change in her expression. After she heard the news that Long Yi is still alive, Yan Mingyue's two eyes, as brilliant as the bright moon, were dyed with a hint of melancholy, even revealing slight anxiety. Lin Feng let out a long breath of relief in his heart. He knows that he made the right gamble. This Yan Mingyue and that Long Yu are your standard arch-rival relationship. It could very likely be some sort of Taoist holy maiden versus demon holy maiden drama. The beauty, talent and Tao techniques of these two people are all at the same level. They mutually admire and understand each other, but they are also in a life and death opposition. There exists an irreconcilable conflict entangling them for their entire lives, playing out an act of love and hatred. Wrong, it's a good show of frenemies. Generally speaking, they might even fall in love with the same main character. TL. I thought this was foreshadow. But 1353 chapters in and I've still got nothing. It's not like I need romance, but I do like a good bit of romance in my novels. But that's not important. What's important is that after hearing Long Ye's news, Yan Mingyue was sure enough not calm. Even though her ability to maintain composure and keep calm is not bad, Lin Feng can still tell that right now she wishes that she can immediately find Long Yi and fight another 300 rounds with her. Under this kind of circumstance she shouldn't still be thinking about compensating Xiao Yan, right? At the very least it's no longer the most important matter. Lin Feng decided to add some more wood to the fire, and so he opened his mouth asking. Fellow Taoist Yan, you have lost your physical body with just your soul remaining residing in this ring. It's probably very inconvenient for you to move, right? Yan Mingyue's eyes flashed. After taking a deep look at Lin Feng she said openly. I have a way to reconstruct my physical body. It's just that before it I need to make a lot of preparations. During this period I do indeed need to continue taking shelter in this ring, or else even though it won't harm my soul I will lose my mana for nothing. Looking at Yan Mingyue, who had already recovered her composure, alarms went off in Lin Feng's mind. He did not dare to relax at the slightest. Seeing Yan Mingyue speak openly, Lin Feng also did not speak in circles, directly saying, "I might be able to help you." Finishing speaking, Lin Feng took out the spirit calming grass. Seeing it, Yan Mingyue immediately recognized it. Spirit calming grass. The main ingredient of the soul anchoring pill. With the soul anchoring pill I can indeed leave the ring and stabilize my soul. Traveling 10,000 miles during the day is not out of the question. She took a deep look at Lin Feng and then suddenly did not speak anymore, instead using her mana to transmit her voice to Lin Feng, not letting Xiao Yan hear. "Fellow Taoist, the reason you are trying so hard, is it for this Xiao Yan?" Chapter 19. Helping and testing. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. In an instant Lin Feng felt his heart stop for half a beat. Since they met, Yan Mingyue has always displayed a very polite, peaceful and calm mannerism. She comes from the world's #1 holy land but is easy to approach, without a single shred of a high-up, almighty feeling. Right now she has fallen into trouble, but she does not have any sort of feeling like she is in a difficult position. Instead she is as calm as the wind, as if everything is within her control. But Lin Feng can sharply sense that this Yan Mingyue, who appears humble and kind, has a pride within her that goes deep into her soul. On the appearance she is easy to approach, but her soul is prideful. It is very easy for people to develop a misconception of her on first contact. This is a person whose mind and heart are extremely strong to the point that she neglects the trivial matters. She simply does not care about the opinions of others. Her pride is not belittlement, it is not arrogance, and it is not conceitment. The exact opposite, her pride is her friendliness, her politeness and her patience. Why? Because in her knowledge, you are inferior to me, so I am polite towards you. I will not think over your rudeness, I will especially patiently guide you. In her heart she assumes preemptively that the other side is inferior to her. She will not become angered due to the rudeness of others and will not look down on someone because of it. She will only think that the other side's level is too low, unable to comprehend her. Like how humans won't pay attention to the provocations of creatures like snakes, insects, rats and ants, will people think that this is pride? No, everyone will think that this is natural, and this is Yan Mingyue's mentality. In the conversation before, regardless if it was against Xiao Yan, who is just Qi disciple level 1, or Lin Feng, whom she cannot see through, Yan Mingyue's appearance was always very calm, practically not like one favored by the heavens who comes from the world's #1 holy land and once roamed freely in the world. But right now she is not holding back, pointing straight to the bottom of Lin Feng's heart with one sentence, straightforward and sharp. At the same time that he is shocked in his heart, Lin Feng is also a bit excited. Yan Mingyue's change in behavior shows that she's put away her pride and put Lin Feng at the same level as herself. The more it's these kinds of times, the calmer one has to be. Lin Feng calmed down his state of mind, casually saying, "I am but a humble man from the mountains, naturally I cannot compare to the Void Temple. It is truly quite difficult to find a couple of successors. So I ask that you please step down, I would be very grateful." Since the other side has already made things clear, Lin Feng also openly admitted. Only, even though he's praising the Void Temple, Lin Feng's tone is calm and natural, clearly placing both sides on the same level. The more he's like this, the more Yan Mingyue is instead unable to grasp his bottom line. After slightly pondering for a moment, Yan Mingyue finally decided give him a favor, not using her mana to transmit her voice anymore and opening her mouth saying, "If it's like so, then I thank you for your spirit calming grass." Lin Feng smiled faintly, nodding his head, turning his head towards Xiao Yan beside him. Xiao Yan also calmed down at this moment, his gaze looking at Yan Mingyue extremely complicated. Yan Mingyue stared at the second ring in Xiao Yan's hand, lightly saying. The heaven cage sigil I planted before is already greatly weakened, the Taotia's remnant spirit could awaken at any moment. It's better if Xiao Yan does not carry this ring around with him. Yet while speaking her gaze looked towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng instantly understood that Yan Mingyue wants him to take action to help deal with the remnant Taotai spirit in the ring. Like this, Xiao Yan will be increasingly grateful, and Lin Feng taking him in as a disciple will be even more natural. Looking at this from another angle, is this not also another of Yan Mingyue's tests targeted at him? Lin Feng secretly cursed in his heart, this woman really isn't a slouch. But admittedly, if Lin Feng really can smoothly and cleanly deal with the remnant Taotai spirit, he'll be able to display his strength before Xiao Yan and attract him to become his disciple. Everything depends on if Lin Feng has any real skill. If he does, then this is a good thing without any harm. Yan Mingyue clearly did him a great favor. If he doesn't have any skill, then he'll reveal his true form, naturally there won't be anything to say. Yan Mingyue stared at Lin Feng with the shadow of a smile on her face, surprisingly carrying a few hints of the mischievous expression of a little girl and giving Lin Feng a massive headache. Birds of the same feather with that Long Yi, both of them aren't good birds. Serves you guys right to go down together. Why didn't you guys perish together and let the world be rid of two disasters? Lin Feng secretly cursed in his heart, but on the surface he was still the appearance of an enigmatic master, saying with a smile. Small case, leave it to me. While speaking, Lin Feng unceremoniously took the ring from Xiao Yan's hand. The more it's at these kinds of times, the more one has to not act diffidently. He cannot reveal his true situation. Lin Feng took over the ring and sent his mana into it, his consciousness instantly entering into an independent space. In the dark space, dozens of beams of disorderly light formed a massive cage. In the cage, a savage beast was roaring ferociously. The appearance of the beast is like a goat with a human's face, its eyes are beneath its pits, and it possesses teeth of a tiger with human hands. Its voice is like an infant's, constantly ramming the cage formed by light. It is precisely the form of one of the four great ancient beasts of legend, the Taotai. Right now the beams of light are already very thin, compared to the Taotai it's practically like using rope the thickness of a finger to tie an elephant. If not for the overall cage formed by the beams of light that releases a unified light every time the Taotai rams into it, the beams of light would have already been torn apart a long time ago. Lin Feng felt his blood freeze whilst staring at it. Even though this isn't a true Taotai and is just a remnant spirit, its strength is at least foundation establishment stage, and it can also devour all things. It is far more terrifying than the average human foundation establishment stage cultivator. While heavily injured, Yan Mingyue's level is also just foundation establishment stage. If not for the profundity of the Void Temple's secret technique, the Heaven Cage Sigil, she simply would not be able to contain this savage beast. Before, when Xiao Yan was at the Great Circle of Perfection of Qi Disciple level 12, he was forcefully sucked into a useless loser by this Taotai. Lin Feng's current level is Qi Disciple level 7, being put on the spot to face this savage beast. The pressure on him is not your average big. Not paying attention to the struggling and roaring Taotai, Lin Feng focused all of his attention on the light cage formed by the Heaven Cage Sigil. To take care of this beast, he'll probably have to depend on this Heaven Cage Sigil. Even time the Taotai rams into it once the beams of light become a bit thinner, representing a portion of the mana of the Heaven Cage Sigil being consumed. When Yan Mingyue just set up the Heaven Cage Sigil in the past, the light beams were presumably very thick. Only after 3 years' time of depletion did it become like this. Understanding this point, Lin Feng had an idea. He started to try and infuse his own mana into the light cage to recharge the cage and help it to continue working. This is not an easy matter. As the signature spell of the Void Temple, the Heaven Cage Sigil's appearance looks like a simple light cage, but the inner mana workings are actually extremely complicated. Countless incantation sigils work together like an incredibly sophisticated machine. When Lin Feng just infused his mana within, it was like a bull barging into a flock of sheep. Not only did it not achieve the effect of replenishing it, he nearly affected the regular operation of the Heaven Cage sigil. Lin Feng did not dare to continue taking risks, only integrating bits of mana within and first patiently grasping the workings of the sigil. This is actually the same as learning the Heaven Cage sigil. But he is like a blind man feeling an elephant, his learning efficiency is extremely low. TL. Blind man and elephant, Lin Feng right now has no other choice, he's already been forced into a corner, he must succeed. Secretly dealing with the Heaven Cage sigil, on the surface Lin Feng had a poised appearance, calmly looking towards Xiao Yan. You set a 3-year promise with your fiancé, what are your plans now? Some things you'll only understand their value when you lose them, recovering what was lost will make people value it even more. Xiao Yan is like so. Knowing the reason behind the change in his body, he has already regained his confidence. Leaving these 2 rings, his talent has definitely already returned. Only, when hearing the word fiancé and thinking of the matter before, Xiao Yan's expression still changed. He took a deep breath saying, "Of course I'll do all I can to catch up and take back everything that I lost before." Lin Feng smiled faintly. Your talent is very good, but that little girl's talent is also not bad. While you are improving, she is also improving, but her starting point is a lot higher than yours. Even if you transform back into the prodigy from the past, based on your original cultivating speed, are you sure you can catch up to her within 3 years? Lin Feng's smile was enigmatic. Not to mention she has the support of the Celeritas sword sect, her training resources are far superior to yours. Xiao Yan felt a jolt, glancing at Lin Feng and then subconsciously looking towards Yan Mingyue. Yan Mingyue smiled faintly. As an outsider, I can't say too much about the grudge between you and Ms. Murong, but your body suffering a great change is more or less related to me. Here I express my deep apologies, I will use a spell of the Void Temple as compensation, I ask that you forgive me. Hearing this at the side, Lin Feng secretly shouted out in his heart. Excellent. This chick may be cunning, but her character is not bad. Xiao Yan is also very happy. The spell that Yan Mingyue wants to pass on to him definitely won't be shabby, but very quickly his mood dropped back down. Even with this spell, will he for sure be able to defeat Murong Yanran 3 years later and avenge the humiliation today? He knows best about himself. In the past he used 4 years' time to cultivate to the great circle of perfection of Qi disciple level 12. How high will his level be 3 years later? Even if both sides are at the same level, the Xiao family Dao technique that he practices is only third-rate, yet Murong Yanran is a direct disciple of the Celeritas sword sect. What she practices is the Celeritas sword sect's best Dao technique, best spells and abilities, mountains of pills and panaceas open to eat, maybe she even has powerful magic items passed down by her master or sect. Letting out a dejected sigh, Xiao Yan secretly glanced at Lin Feng, who is carrying a faint smile on his face, his eyes slowing becoming brighter. Lin Feng's eyes also lit up. That's right, my good disciple, hurry up and come into Master's Bowl. Chapter 20. Lots of surprises. You are listening at novelfull.audio. His gaze looking at Lin Feng, Xiao Yan opened his mouth asking. Since Senior is saying this, are you indicating that you have a way to help me defeat Murong Yanran 3 years later? Lin Feng smiled coolly. Naturally I have a way, but the final result still has to look at how determined you are and how much effort you are willing to give. The master initiates the apprentice, but their skill depends on their own efforts. A rotten tree is in the end unable to achieve greatness. Xiao Yan's twin brows rose up high. I don't know if in Senior's eyes I am a rotten tree or a rough diamond, but I dare to say that my determination will absolutely not falter, I will do my utter best. The black-clothed youth's gaze was filled with resolution. No matter how much pain, I am able to bear it. No matter how great the trouble, I will overcome it. Lin Feng nodded his head. If it's like this, then acknowledge me as your master, I will take you in. I also have to acknowledge you as my master. Xiao Yan was a bit hesitant. Lin Feng said as a matter of factly. Anyone who enters under my teaching I will definitely teach them my all. What I want is a successor, not a half-minded opportunist. Xiao Yan thought for a moment and then prepared to accept it. Seeing him about to accept, Lin Feng's heart instantly heated up. But closely afterwards he sensed a slightly familiar mana fluctuation approaching the lakeside. Twisting his head and looking over, he saw a petite, purple figure rapidly rushing over. Yan Mingyue also discovered it, her gaze looking towards the purple figure together with Lin Feng. Xiao Yan followed their gazes and looked over, becoming slightly dazed. It's Zhener. Lin Feng secretly frowned. At such a critical moment new problems unexpectedly cropping up is what he fears the most. Even if he covets Xiao Zhener's talent, right now he doesn't wish for her to get involved and bring about more variables to the matter of him taking in Xiao Yan as his disciple. I don't wish to see other people. Go greet her and see what she wants, I will wait for you here. Lin Feng said indisputably, directly ordering Xiao Yan to go and dismiss Xiao Zhener. Xiao Yan looked at Lin Feng and then looked at Yan Mingyue at the side, in the end still nodding his head and heading towards Xiao Zhener, stopping her far away. Lin Feng could feel Xiao Zhener's surveying gaze sweeping towards him, but unsure of what excuse Xiao Yan used, he brought her and walked over towards a further area. Yan Mingyue stared at Xiao Zhener's back, her gaze filled with a radiant splendor. The relationship between Xiao Yan and this Miss Zhener is extremely good, this could also be considered another fortuitous opportunity. Lin Feng knows that in these 3 years she's been hiding in Xiao Yan's ring the whole time, maybe she already discovered the abnormalities of Xiao Zhener. In this life, anybody that you meet is a type of opportunity, although whether or not it will affect your future is hard to say. Lin Feng very casually said. Yan Mingyue glanced at him. Fellow Taoist Lin's opinion is somewhat similar to that of Buddhism's. Lin Feng smiled noncommittally, the majority of his concentration right now is all focused on the heaven cage sigil in the ring. He tried to use his own mana to grasp the principles of the heaven cage sigil but was met with little success. Thinking of it, it makes sense. If the heaven cage sigil was so easy to see through, then how could it become the Void Temple's secret skill? But for the current Lin Feng, he has to crack and understand the principles of the heaven cage sigil within a short period of time, or else the remnant Taotai spirit will reappear. At that time Yan Mingyue will of course act to suppress it again, but Lin Feng will then have revealed his true situation. Naturally he won't be able to continue acting like a sagely master, and Xiao Yan, this disciple already in his hands, will also be lost. While they were talking, Xiao Budian was standing at the side the whole time, well behaved, but in the end he is still just child who is not even 4 years old yet. Very quickly his attention was attracted by a little red bird that flit over the lake. The corner of Lin Feng's eye swept over Xiao Budian, who was restless, saying gruffly. Go play by yourself, don't run too far. Thank you, master. Xiao Budian let out a cheer, stretching out his body and chasing after the little red bird. Yan Mingyue's eyes stared at Xiao Budian's disappearing figure, exclaiming in a low voice. And fellow Taoist Lin says that it's not easy finding disciples, the talent of this little disciple of yours is virtually unmatched in the world. Besides one of my seniors, I have never seen anyone able to reach the level of Qi disciple level 4 at such a young age. Lin Feng smiled uncaringly. Don't say this in front of him, little kids cannot be praised. Once they start to get smug it'll be difficult to scale them back. Lin Feng was secretly laughing in his heart. The Void Temple may be filled with prodigious geniuses, but the current Xiao Budian has still yet to display his true talent. If not for the fact that he was harmed by his clan brother, Xiao Budian is a person that was born at the foundation establishment stage. Although the Void Temple's mega pool of prodigies still makes Lin Feng incredibly red-eyed. He used the talent probe in the system tools before to secretly test Yan Mingyue, but he only obtained one notice from the system. Target matches the criterion but already has a master, needs to abolish the current master-disciple relationship to be able to become the host's disciple. Lin Feng said in his heart. Looks like those already with a master cannot be taken as disciples. If I want to steal disciples, then I first need to incite the person to betray their original school, and then I can take them as a disciple. Yan Mingyue frowned slightly. That seems to be a fire hummingbird. This kind of spiritual creature is very rare. Before I've only seen them at the Blaze Sword sect. I've never heard of fire hummingbirds in the Wuzhou region. Lin Feng was busy in the middle of studying the Heaven Cage sigil, casually replying. Maybe someone brought it over. Halfway through his sentence, Lin Feng's voice abruptly stopped. Damn it, it's the Blaze Sword sect that I am a dividing line. Little red birdie, don't run. Xiao Budian chased after the little red bird from behind. Passing through a little forest, he saw the red little birdie land on the shoulder of a red-clothed person. The person stood amongst a group of red-clothed people. A dozen people stood together, their mana surging and causing the area around them to be incredibly hot. Standing beside them was like standing beside the mouth of a volcano. Amongst them, two of the people had mana as deep as the sea, powerful and endless. They were Foundation Establishment stage cultivators. And the red-haired old man with a fierce appearance at the very front, he looks calm, but the pressure that he brings to Xiao Budian is even greater than all of the other people combined. Ah! Even though Xiao Budian is little, he is a precocious child and his eyes are very sharp. With a glance he recognized one of the red-robed youths standing in the group of people. It was precisely that Blaze Sword sect disciple that he left behind in the mountains. This person was respectfully saying towards the red-haired old man. Elderly, this is this child that I saw. You look everywhere but can't find it, and then you turn around and it's right there. The red-haired old man sized up Xiao Budian, his gaze revealing a hint of astonishment, slowly nodding his head. Excellent, excellent. Truly outstanding gift and talent. He walked over to Xiao Budian with big strides, bluntly saying. Kid, come with me. From today onwards you are now a disciple of the Blaze Sword sect. Xiao Budian blinked his eyes. But old grandpa, I already have a master. Elderly with his head of red hair slightly cocked his eyebrows. You don't know how to behave, kid. Since I said you are a disciple of the Blaze Sword sect, you are and can only be a disciple of the Blaze Sword sect. Old grandpa, I think it's better if I go. Xiao Budian retreated a few steps back, suddenly turning around and running away. Elderly let out a cold snort. A Foundation Establishment stage cultivator of the Blaze Sword sect stood out beside him, extending his palm and opening it. His mana turned into boundless flames, directly detaining Xiao Budian below it like a massive cover.